questions to keep myself aligned. Waste away the hours doing what I should.
Hi, I'm Ayse Hogan with my co-host Kelly Bentley, and our guests today are Stacey Cooper and Shanel Scott. And welcome to this episode of Reflections. Today we're talking about yoga. And yoga is not for the FooFoo, right? Like it's just, people have this odd feeling about what yoga is about. Like they can't do it if they're overweight. They can't do it if they don't, I don't know. It's just like they just think that you have to be a certain clique to do yoga.
Or you have to be a woman, which is actually ridiculous.
Right.
Because we learned we went to yoga teacher training together, and yoga was actually forbidden for women to practice for thousands of years.
Really?
It was only for men. Yeah.
My favorite is always, I can't do yoga because I'm not flexible.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
why you do yoga.
And that's just that. I mean, I've taken yoga a few times. I go to hot yoga or whatever, and I always hear and you see that everybody doesn't do it the same.
No.
So I think you just move to how you can move.
And you're not supposed to do it the same. Yoga is between you and your mat, not what anybody else is doing. You don't have to be a pretzel. It's just about listening to your body and doing what works for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do like hot yoga though, because I use it like a meditation, like a moving meditation.
Yeah.
Which is great.
It's perfect for meditating. The first time I did hot yoga, I was like, well, I can't think about anything else except for that. I feel like I'm dying. Perfect for meditating. But that was my very first time, and it's so good since then. It's such an amazing detox feeling.
So what's the difference between doing hot yoga and just regular yoga?
The heat is a big, it makes it very different in the body because you're so aware of the heat. You're aware of your breath a lot more because you need to pay attention to breathing in the heat. Whereas in the not hot room or a regular temperature room for yoga, you're more aware of your body. You're not being distracted by the heat or by just keeping your breath and keeping moving because you're drenched with sweat. You're very aware of your body, and it's a very different practice. I find it is almost like a meditative thing in the hot room where you're just focused on continuing to move through the thing and not like drowned in your own sweat or pass out on your mat. So it's a very different practice, and everybody gets addicted to hot yoga for that sweating out the toxins. So you come out of that room and you just feel like you had the most amazing workout because you've moved and sweat and purged from your system. Whereas you may not get that same purging feeling in the not hot space. But it has a very different feel to it. And it depends on what you're looking for in your practice that day, what you would want to kind of step into.
Mm-hmm. And the heat allows the muscles also to expand more. So you're getting a deeper stretch.
Mm-hmm. I did find though a few times I've gone into a hot yoga room and I'm doing it. I'm halfway through and I got to get out because my head is just like, it's spinning.
That's the worst thing that you can do, though, is actually going in and out of the heat.
Or so you should stay there and pass out?
You should lie down.
Yeah, lie down.
Lie down on your mat and take Shavasana. That is the best thing you can do.
So Shavasana.
Yeah.
For those that don't know what Shavasana is.
It's yoga nap. That's what
it's a yoga nap, right?
Yoga nap. Lying down on your mat. It's at the end of your practice. It's a time to cool down and to reconnect to your body and really just relax for those few minutes. And sometimes it's about releasing the practice because if it wasn't a good one, sometimes you just want to forget about it. Sometimes it's just about kind of reconnecting to yourself and finding 5 minutes of peace before you step back out into the world. But in hot yoga, it's a great way to just let your body kind of chill back out. When you step out of the heat, you shock your body. So people will often go out and come back in, and it is not really good for the body at all. And it's hard to explain that to people, that the best thing you could do is lay down, take a few minutes that way, maybe take the whole rest of the class that way. And if you really feel like you can't be in there anymore, then leave and stay out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So now how is yoga good for
mobility
in the body? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to spit out.
Yeah, chiropractic with my patients. Everybody knows that exercise is important, and they think that is what's going to make them strong and get their body functioning better. But exercise leads to muscle contraction and tightening, and that actually decreases the function of the body. So mobility is what enhances your vitality. And so through yoga and incorporating that practice, that's going to stretch the muscles, improve joint function, which is then going to restore body function and just have your whole body work much better.
That's cool. I mean, I like it. I like doing it, but I always feel like there are some times where my head starts spinning, and I think that you have to be very non-ego about yoga,
Leave
right?
that at the door.
Oh yeah, yoga's amazing. You can try to do a certain posture for so long, and it's happened to me where all of a sudden you do it and you're like, yes, win, and then the next day can't do it.
It's like, what happened to me during my sleep?
So there's a lot of
It's interesting.
introspection.
The balance is always one of the ones that you see people really struggle with their ego in. 'cause
Well,
they
there's that one
can't-
where you wrap it around your legs this way and you're wrapped
Eagle.
around like this. And they're saying, look at a spot, and you're trying to like look at yourself in the mirror, but while you're checking yourself off, you're like,
Or
crash.
you're looking at the wobbly person in front of you.
And don't
That's
look
why you look at
somebody's
a spot.
Yeah.
And that's just it too. It's just like you see that girl that's in the yoga room that does every move perfect, and you're checking yourself out going,
That's why
okay,
you
wait a
don't look
minute
at
now.
anybody else.
So mirrors in the yoga room are a bad thing.
Yes,
We
we
don't
don't.
need mirrors. We don't practice.
The
with
studio
mirrors.
that we work out of, there are no mirrors in the practice area.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to like not have them. Like, there's the one I work out. It has like the whole one wall as a mirror, and the instructor's standing in front of the mirror, so you're
looking in the mirror.
looking in the mirror.
I find that takes away from body awareness too,
Yeah.
because you're not focused within anymore about what's going on. You're focused on
Very distracting.
how you're looking. Yeah.
I teach dance as well, and having mirrors in a dance studio versus no mirrors in a yoga studio, I have both ends of the spectrum, and it's amazing that even the adults that I teach are paying attention to their reflection in the mirror instead of paying attention to how it feels in their body.
Right.
And it's distracting. In the yoga room, you want to feel it, you want to pay attention to what's going on in your body versus looking in the mirror to see if it looks right or feels right by visual.
Yeah, because even if you're not checking yourself out in the mirror, anything in your peripheral vision, somebody else teetering in their balance pose is going to distract you too, and that's going to make
Yeah,
you
true.
topple as
Also,
well.
head movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, the alignment. You're sitting there and you're looking. All of a sudden, you're not aligned anymore. Not, not a good idea.
Everybody's built differently, and everybody's going to do every posture differently. What is the ideal of a posture may not be what the ideal is for someone's body because of the way that they're built.
And that's just
And
the thing.
that's
We're all
important to honor.
individual, right? Like that is something that we talk about a lot. So everybody is individual, and we're not supposed to all look like little robot clones. And
Right.
and it's okay to do it differently because your body, even though we're technically built the same, you know what I mean? Like our legs are down here and our arms are up here, but
That's
we're just
about
really
as close as it gets.
Yeah.
No,
okay. Well, the
everybody
head,
is
the
individual.
head is up here too.
Generally.
But that.
Sometimes that's not screwed on straight either.
Yeah.
Sorry, just making fun of Kelly. But it's true. So, and I know that when I first started, I was because, I was trying to work out. I was getting back into, I had been off my training for a year and a half due to an injury. So I'm back into it again. Couldn't do the cardio anymore. And I couldn't do the bouncing anymore on my legs. So I'm doing weightlifting, and I'm doing still boxing, but a little bit lighter. And now I'm doing yoga, because I had the flexibility of a wall. So I thought okay, yoga's going to be really good. But of course I went in there with, that nervous feeling, like, am I going to be good enough? Is it going to be right? Am I going to make a fool of myself? And you're looking at bulges in your body that were never there before, and you're paying attention to it in the mirror going, oh no, that's not good. And all of a sudden you become very distracted from what you're doing.
There's a lot of people that have that misconception going into the room that the other people around them are paying attention to what you're doing. And the reality is, as the teacher, I'm paying attention to you, but nobody else in the room really cares what you're doing. Nobody cares what your butt looks like in your yoga pants, or if you've got rolls, or if you're not doing it quite right. Nobody's paying attention to each other, especially in the hot room, because you're just focusing
don't
on
care.
Getting through that hour and a quarter, and that's it. And nobody's paying attention. And it's so funny to hear so many people have this self-consciousness about stepping into the room. And I always say to those people, then take a back corner where you're not in front of anybody else. You're in your own
protect
space.
yourself.
And, so feel comfortable. And it's also funny watching people who have their spot in the room, and they have to be there 15 minutes early, and they're the first ones in the door laying
It
down
just
their
makes them
mat.
feel comfortable. I have
It is,
a spot. I have spot.
Also, though, side note, there's yoga therapy,
Yes.
which people, I find a lot of people aren't aware of it, and it's magical. It's, I'm sure you might be able to better explain yoga therapy, but it's yoga for your own body. So you take sessions with someone that's aware of how your shoulders are shaped, how your hips are functioning, and they can properly assist you in the different postures with how your body works.
Looking at your mobility and your body structure and function and that sort of thing, how tight your muscles are, and they can actually use it to look at that and increase your mobility and that sort of thing.
So do you suggest yoga for a lot of people, for any of your patients?
Absolutely. It's funny because the first time I tried yoga, I didn't like it. And I was coming from the place of, step classes, aerobics, and all this. And so I was in the class and I was listening and I was a good student. I was doing what I was told. And you're in the posture and, okay, I'm done. What's next? Hurry up. And that is so what yoga is not about. So even for better body function, but relaxation and stress reduction is a huge component to yoga, and just slowing down your body.
Right.
And allowing, because when you reduce your stress levels, then that just improves your healing capacity. And so for my patients, not only is it great for improving flexibility and body function, because often they're coming to me with an injury, right? And so we're helping to rehabilitate that. So yoga's physical practice does a lot for that. But if they're still hardwired and they don't have relaxation, then that hinders the healing process within the body. Because restoration begins with rest. And when you don't have good rest, then your body can't heal well.
It's true, because that's a lot of times I tell that to my clients that come in for hypnosis, or when I'm working with them in Reiki or whatever, and it is about your body is restoring itself and it's healing when it's resting.
Balance.
So you need to relax your body in order for it to heal. And people just, because in this world of multitasking and doing everything and all at the same time, we just have forgotten how to chill.
I recommend it to every personal training client, especially those in sports.
Now, you mentioned something to me today, which I didn't even know existed, and that was the Reiki yoga.
Yes.
So what is that about?
Shanel?
It's my favorite class to teach. I teach a candlelit Reiki flow, and I have the pleasure of incorporating meditation and Reiki into a yoga class. So we start with a meditation practice at the beginning and move energy through the body. Then I teach a flow practice, which I've sent a Reiki sending to, so that people receive Reiki through the entire practice. And then we finish off with a really nice long shavasana, so that we have that relaxation aspect in there. And I have the pleasure of walking around the room and giving everyone a little hands-on treatment. So it's a beautiful combination. It's a very relaxing class. It's a gentle class, and it really allows people to move into their own self and pay attention to their own energy.
It's great. And if somebody does have, if somebody is attuned to Reiki, they really should do it, because I know every time I go to hot yoga, I always show up 15 minutes early, so I can sort of do my own invocation and give myself my symbols and stuff and be ready.
Mine's more of a restorative Reiki. So I'll put a person in certain postures for their
Restorative posture,
relaxation, but it still coincides with the position they're in for that certain chakra, energy center in the body. And
I've taught that one too, and it's a beautiful, very relaxing practice.
Very relaxing.
Actually, the studio where Kelly and I work out of, the most popular class that's offered is a relaxing class. It's called Sweat, Relax, Restore, and it's done in the hot room. It's done all on the mat, mostly laying down, and it's deep stretching and relaxation, and it is the most popular class. And it is for that factor of people need to slow down and do that stress reduction and take time to relax and be in their body, and that class allows them to do that. And we have a lot of people that use it within conjunction with other modalities, running, weightlifting. We have a lot of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, MMA guys.
I love it. I do love the yoga, because actually Kelly and I are starting a class with boxing and yoga, because it's really great, because it's boxing is like this, and then right after the boxing, you're just you're opened right up for yoga. So it's really nice, because I think when I was boxing, I forgot to stretch. Like I would forget to stretch, which is probably why I got the injuries that I got, and I wasn't able to do my favorite sport for like almost over a year and a half because I hurt myself, right?
Yoga seems to be a go-to for a lot of people that end up with injuries. One of our yoga teacher training teachers came to yoga from a sports injury as well. Actually, two of our teachers, because one was a weightlifter, and same thing. Injured and went to yoga for rehabilitation because there's less weight bearing and that sort of thing. But
it's hard to get used to when you're used to doing like burning at like 900 calories in an hour. All of a sudden you're like, what is this doing for me?
And we've talked a lot about stress reduction and relaxation in yoga.
Yeah.
But when you get down to it, the physical postures, the only thing missing from calisthenics and weight exercise and yoga is pull-ups. Yeah. Everything else, you use your own body weight and your own resistance, and you can work every single muscle group within the body. Yeah. And the only exercise not there is pull-ups. And so it's great for strengthening. So it's not just about laying on the mat and relaxation, but it is about strengthening and mobility.
And I think people need to understand that.
They do,
and what I really love,
what holds men away from it. It's a girly thing. I'm just going to lay on the mat. No, you're not.
Nope.
Try it and see how much breathing you're going to have to do to get your body to function like that.
And what I really super like about yoga is if you have a good instructor, and people really don't probably know this, but a good instructor walks around the room and is always like sort of adjusting you and shifting you and helping you for your body, helping you to open up, like pushing you that little bit extra, where it's not like were you lifting weights, we're like, one more. So you're not getting that, but you're just sort of getting that, you can do this, like that gentle nudge of stretching yourself out just a little bit more past your boundary.
Yeah, and sometimes you can't feel. Like, for instance, when I was in downward dog, I couldn't necessarily feel how my body was positioned or looking. Right. And I had one of our other fellow teachers come up and just give me a gentle nudge. And all of a sudden it was like, oh.
That's what it's supposed to feel like. Yeah. Because you're not looking at the mirrors, you're not looking at everybody else, but you also can't see what your body is doing. So the instructor then can help to challenge you into those poses.
Right.
And also they do provide, too, when you have any limitations. And so they will modify the pose so that you can work within your limits of your body and not hurt yourself. And that is another key component to great instructors.
Yoga is not scary.
One of the other things you talked about was the different styles of yoga.
Right.
So I know there's that aspect how you said you're not getting this like really strong physical workout, but some of the styles of yoga give you a very strong.
Well, there's like the headstands and the handstands, and I see these women in these pictures where they're there and their legs are up in the air over here, and you're like, how? I can't even lift my butt off the ground. Like, that one where you just have to lift yourself, and I'm like, okay, my arms. I blame it on my arms being too short.
Me too.
T-Rex arms. And then that is the biggest lie. It's not about having to put arms up.
I don't lie.
She's sticking to that story. She's sticking to that.
Some people have shorter limbs.
There you go. You just want to have strong muscles to get yourself through.
That's right.
But there are some ones that are much more physical practice. I used to practice Ashtanga, and I've taken a break from it due to an injury.
Bless you.
They have great names too. But Ashtanga has 6 series of postures, and you start with your primary series and you move through. And most people don't get much past primary or secondary series. And primary is about an hour and a half practice where you do 52 vinyasas, which is your jump back and jump through with your chaturanga, your push up in the middle. So it is a very vigorous practice, and you get a very good workout, and you are sweating by the time you're done.
But do they offer these? Because I've never seen this Gesundheit one that you were talking about.
Well, the traditional way of practicing Ashtanga is called Mysore.
Right.
There is one studio here in the Hamilton area that offers a Mysore program. There's a couple in Toronto that offer a Mysore program. So it's a self-led practice. So the teacher will have a time frame that the studio or the room is open, and you go in and the teacher gives you so many poses at a time. So you have to accomplish one pose before you can move to the next posture.
Ah, okay.
But it's self-led. So you go in during that time, you give yourself enough to do your time to do your practice, however long that is, and everybody's there for different lengths of time. And you just move at your own pace, and the teacher's there for adjustments and questions and that sort of thing. So it's a very different practice. And for myself, one of the reasons I loved it was for that mindful meditation piece. It was a moving meditation for me where I was completely focused on my own body. But then there's, other practices like Kundalini yoga, which focuses a lot on the breath and moving energy through the body. Bhakti yoga, devotional yoga, which involves a lot of singing and chanting, mantra. So there's so many different aspects and so many different styles of yoga that
That's awesome.
It's easy to find something that works with what you're looking for.
Well, unfortunately,
Again,
we're going to have to wrap it up. It's never enough
it always
time.
goes so quick.
So it does go so quickly. I want to thank you all for coming out to Reflections and talking about yoga with us today. We look forward to your comments and your questions. And if there's any kinds of show ideas or things that you want to learn about, please let us know. We would love to bring that to you. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Vimeo, on our social media pages, and we're on some TV networks. Check that out. And thanks for coming out.
I'm shedding all the crap right now. I'm stepping into me.